guys, how you going today? So I've only got 10 minutes to talk. I have a southern accent, but probably different to the southern accent you're expecting. I'm from the southern hemisphere, down under in Australia. So I've got 10 minutes to tell you about how I went straight from university to founding my own business, how that led to an IPO in a $315 million company, and how that moved my family all the way to New Orleans. So it's a big story in a short time, so I'll try my best to go through and give you some highlights from it. Firstly, I want to talk about entrepreneurial mindset, because like a lot of speakers on this stage, I'm sure going to give you this story about how they had this entrepreneur gene, how they were at school and they would, they recognized they could buy candy in bulk and sell it individually to people and like made money as a kid. I don't have that story because I wasn't that person. I was trained to like go to school, study so I could go to a good university, get a good job and climb the corporate ladder. So I was doing that, and I graduated in 1998. I started studying Bachelor of Commerce in Marketing and Economics, but 2 years into that, a friend of mine convinced me to go to a Robert Kiyosaki seminar. And I hadn't really heard of Robert Kiyosaki, I didn't really go to seminars, but for whatever reason, I decided to go, and that just changed my life forever, right? So what specifically stuck out was Robert talked about the cash flow quadrant. I won't go through it, but he wrote a book on it. I recommend reading it. And he basically spoke about how you can be an employee, self-employed, business owner, or investor. And to me, it was really obvious that I wanted to be a business owner. The benefits associated with that were just really clear. So, I decided that was what I was going to do. And I trained myself. I read all of his books. I listened to all of his cassette tapes. And yes, cassette tapes, I'm that old. And I really brainwashed myself to be an entrepreneur. So then in 2002, I graduated and majority of my class went out and they got jobs. And I decided not to get a job. I decided that I was going to go my own way and found a business. Everyone thought I was crazy, probably was. They all told me how 9 out of 10 businesses fail. This is a commonly quoted statistic. I believe it's real, and I knew that risk, right? But to me, I knew the benefit of starting a business, so I was prepared to fail 9 times if it meant the 10th time I'd have a successful business. So I made that leap and I started my own business. At first, I was a solo entrepreneur doing my own thing, but I merged and I had a partner, and then I merged again and I had 3 more partners. So there's 5 of us. So people will tell you a lot of horror stories about partnerships, and I know they exist. We didn't have that same problem, and I think the key to that was we had very different skills. My background was sales and marketing. I had a partner who was like a programmer. He was like Mark Zuckerberg smart. I had another partner who was a CPA. He was great with financials and forecasting. I had another partner who was great at corporate sales and big deals with partners, and I had another partner who was great at service. So we had different skills, and that allowed us to focus on our different areas and support each other and also hold each other accountable. Make sure the opportunity is worth the size though. So when we first started, we were focused on the natural therapy space. We saw that was a growing industry and we wanted to be part of it. So we started a directory for natural therapists. So we had advertisers on our site who were like naturopaths, homeopaths, herbalists, etc. And they would pay us to advertise because we had a lot of people researching those things on our site. And we were really successful actually. We penetrated that market very easily. We just found it was an underserviced market. Those advertisers, they really loved our brand and our mission, and it was quite easy to get them. But my partner, who was a CPA, he recognized that we had a really good model, but the industry we were in, while it was growing, it wasn't as big as other industries out there. So we decided to focus on the home improvement space, okay? So we realized that Australians spend $110 billion a year on home improvements. We were a two-sided marketplace, so we were targeting contractors, tradespeople, and they already spent $1 billion a year on advertising. So we were selling advertising, so we had a market we could take market share in as well as grow. And there were over 250,000 contractors, so we had a big, deep market. So we started working on a better opportunity that was going to give us a better outcome. So growing a business, we were really lucky. We hit what all entrepreneurs want. You want that hockey stick growth where things start working and the growth is exponential. So we were able to do that. We were very focused on sales. We had a very good sales process to sell our contractors onto our site and a good product to support that. So we had a lot of growth and that was great until we didn't though. because you need to watch out for the S-curve. Okay, so we had this growth, we won all these awards as one of the fastest growing companies in Australia, but the S-curve strikes when you start to get maturity. And how that feels is you start doing more, as you're doing more, you're not getting the same return. The returns become marginal. And we felt that, like we were very sales oriented and we had all this growth, but we were looking at ourselves, are we really gonna have a whole office building full of salespeople? Didn't really feel like the right business to be growing. So you gotta jump the S-curve as an entrepreneur. You gotta find that next level of growth and change what you're doing. Essentially disrupt yourself before someone disrupts you. So for us, we realized that we were selling advertising on a subscription, and it was nice, consistent revenue, but there wasn't a relationship between some of our advertisers who got better results and wanted more results and our smaller ones. So we pivoted and we created a pay-per-lead product. So now we create a relationship between the value our customers were getting and the revenue we're getting. So we really increased our average revenue per advertiser, and that was a game changer. Then we're doing really well and growing, and we built the best directory in Australia for finding contractors. It was the best place to go. But who the hell wants to use a directory in a Web 2.0 world, right? The internet was changing, technology was changing, that was old. So we had to disrupt ourselves. So we created a posted job functionality where the homeowners, instead of like looking through a directory for a plumber, they could say they have a broken pipe, and we would match them with plumbers in the area. We would find out who was available and who wanted the job, and would connect them with 3 people instantly. So that was really well received by the homeowners, and we really grew the usage of our site, and mixed with a pay-per-lead model, we really increased our revenue as well. So that was, that's probably like 7 years into the business. We probably had about 5 different S-curve jumps along the way. So that's really important. Knowing when to move on. So I built a really great company at High Pages. We had 300 staff. We were very professional. We had like a big HR department. Like, it was awesome, but I hated it. Don't get me wrong, I love the company and I love where we were, and we were exactly where we needed to be. But I realized that myself, I was an entrepreneur. I like that high growth, like starting those S-curves. Whereas as you get more mature, there's just more levels of decision making, and you need to protect the revenue you have, and it wasn't as exciting for me. So I moved on. I did keep shares in the business. I'm still an owner of the business, a partial owner, but I took a break. Another piece of advice I got is when you exit your first business, you should take some time off. So I came to New Orleans for a 6-month vacation. That was 7 years ago. So needless to say, I fell in love with the city and the culture and the food and everything about it. I've since recognized that there was a lot of opportunity in New Orleans and Louisiana. So, I had a lot of experience building this 2-sided marketplace, and I realized that there's a lot of distressed properties in New Orleans, right? So I started Home by Louisiana, and we're doing the same thing of connecting people that had distressed properties that they couldn't sell with rehabbers and investors that want those properties. So I started building the same thing in New Orleans. We started in New Orleans, we opened in Baton Rouge about 18 months ago, and we're just opening in Lafayette now. So I'm back enjoying myself in a higher growth, startup mentality. So it's pretty hard to break down 20 years in business in 10 minutes. So I hope that sort of made sense and you're able to take something from that. But if there's just one takeaway I want you to take from today, it's just that building a business is hard. It's hard. It takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of stress, there's a lot of risk involved in it, but it's worth it. Okay? So it's worth taking that risk. You might fail. You probably will fail, but it's okay. You can fail forward and the end result is worth it. Particularly if there's any Loyola students in here, I recommend start a business. Louisiana needs more startups. We need more entrepreneurs shaking things up. So I encourage you to do that. So I hope that helped. Email me if you want to know anything. Appreciate you all. Thank you.